U.S. banks are sitting on a $650 billion unrealized losses, and that means disaster is just a bank run away. Michael Snyder reports. Our economy runs on credit, and our banks are the beating heart of that system. Without healthy banks, how would Americans buy homes, purchase vehicles, or get credit cards? The way that our system is currently constructed, it's absolutely imperative for our banks to function properly. Unfortunately, the truth is that our banks have gotten into deep financial trouble. They're sitting on hundreds of billions of dollars in unrealized losses, and the primary reason why those losses have become so large is because we have witnessed a historic bond market crash over the past several years. The Treasury bonds, debt instruments the government issues to fund its spending, have been on a nightmarish run since the onset of the pandemic, with investors fretting about rising interest rates and the long-term viability of U.S. massive deficit. BlackRock's iShares 20-plus year Treasury fund, which tracks longer duration debt prices, has plunged 48% since April 2020. Thanks to that historic bond market crash, our financial institutions were sitting on $650 billion in unrealized losses as of September 30th. As a result of that sell-off, some of the U.S. biggest banks are now sitting on unrealized or paper losses worth hundreds of billions of dollars. And that means the value of their bond holdings has plunged, but they've chosen to hold on rather than offload their investment. Moody's estimates last month that U.S. financial institutions had racked up $650 billion worth of paper losses on their portfolios by September 30th, up 15% from June 30th. The ratings agency data still does not account for a hellish October, where the longer-term collapse in bond prices spiraled into one of the worst routes in market history. Go back and read that last sentence again. After what we witnessed during the month of October, what is the real number now? Has it surpassed $700 billion? Has it surpassed $800 billion? Nobody really knows. However, what we do know is that we have never seen anything like this before. The good news is that there won't be a major problem in the short term unless there is a run on the banks. But if there is a run on the banks that are affected will need to start selling off their bonds at huge loss, and that would be a nightmare. While they're generally purchased and intended to be held until they mature, if banks experience a surge of withdrawals, a run on the bank, they may need to sell them. That's what happened to Silicon Valley Bank earlier this year. The bank was forced to sell those bonds as its depositors sought to withdraw funds. And as long as everyone has faith in the banks, things won't get too crazy. Hopefully that will remain the case for quite a while, because right now our largest banks are a ticking time bomb. Bank of America is the big lender worst affected by the crash in bond prices, having disclosed a potential $130 billion hole in its balance sheet last month. The other big four banks, Citigroup, JP Morgan, Chase, and Wells Fargo, have also racked up unrealized losses in the tens of billions, according to their second and third quarter earnings reports. Just a few days ago, we witnessed a sixth bank failure this year. The combined assets of those six banks actually exceed the combined assets of the 25 banks that failed in 2008. And as James Rickards has aptly noted, more bank failures are coming. I warned in March that the failure of Silicon Valley Bank would be just a start, and now we've had 5 additional bank failures, and this latest failure won't be the last. Veterans of such crises, and I include myself in that category, know that once the dominoes start falling, they keep falling until some government intervention of a particularly draconian kind is imposed. Meanwhile, the overall economy continues to steadily deteriorate. According to Challenger, Gray and Christmas, the number of retail layoffs has jumped 258%, compared to the same time period last year. Amid the early holiday shopping season, retailers have cut 72,182 jobs through October, a 258% increase from 20,191 jobs eliminated in 2022, according to a new report from Challenger Grain Christmas. This marks the most significant number of job cuts since retailers cut 179,520 jobs in October 2020. Over the past few years, economic conditions have just gotten harsher and harsher. It's been a slow, steady slide that now threatens to turn into an avalanche. According to a new poll that was just conducted by Bankrate, the American people don't feel too good about the economic changes that we have witnessed since Joe Biden entered the White House. A new survey published by Bankrate on Wednesday shows that 50% of Americans say their financial situation has gotten worse since the 2020 presidential election. By comparison, just 21% think their financial situation has improved, while 26% believe it's unchanged. The plight of the economy over the next 12 months may help to dictate whether it was wise or not for President Biden to trumpet the branding of Bidenomics, said Mark Hamrick, senior economic analyst at Bankrate. Among Americans who are feeling pessimistic about their financial outlook, about half, 45%, blame Biden and his economic policies. Another 35% think that Congress is responsible, while 29% identify the Federal Reserve as the culprit. But as bad as things are right now, the truth is that we're experiencing at this moment will be considered rip-roaring prosperity compared to what's coming. As I discuss in my brand new book entitled Chaos, we are on the brink of an economic shaking that will be unlike anything that our nation has ever seen before. America is literally drowning in debt, the value of our currency is being destroyed, and now our financial system stands on the brink of an unprecedented crisis. So I hope that you'll be prepared for what's coming next. Unfortunately, the vast majority of the population is not. This is by Michael Snyder. He says about the author, my name is Michael, and my brand new book entitled Chaos is now available in paperback and for the Kindle on Amazon. In addition to my new book, I've written 7 other books that are available on Amazon, including 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters, commissions earned. When you purchase any of these books, you help to support the work that I'm doing, and one way that you can really help is by sending copies as gifts to family and friends. Time is short, and I need help getting these warnings into the hands of as many people as possible. I've also started a brand new Substack newsletter, and I encourage you to subscribe so you won't miss any of my articles. I've published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, and of the American Dream and the most important news. And the articles that I publish on those sites are republished on dozens of other prominent websites all over the globe. I always freely and happily allow others to republish my articles on their own websites, but I also ask that they include this about the author section with each article. The material contained in this article is for general information purposes only, and readers should consult licensed professionals before making legal, business, financial, or health decisions. I encourage you to follow me on social media, Facebook and Twitter, and any way that you can share these other articles with others is definitely a great help. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, I strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. And this is by Michael Snyder on the Economic Collapse blog. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.